All right, hello everybody. KVUE Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here with an update on our forecast. We are tracking a severe weather risk here in Central Texas for Friday night into Saturday morning. Large hail looks like the main threat, but also there could be some gusty winds, some heavy rain, and a low but not zero threat for a tornado. And then, by the way, behind these storms, we actually have a pretty big late season cool down coming in for the weekend into early next week. So let's start with the severe weather threat. We have issued a weather impact alert for this. It will go from 6 p.m. on Friday through 6 a.m. on Saturday. Again, large hail. Concern number one, wind, heavy rain, isolated tornado. A lot of this, and we'll go to the models here in a second, a lot of this is going to be an overnight severe weather threat. So those are just always a little tricky because we're asleep and not paying attention. But just make sure you have the KVUE app downloaded, leave the ringer on. That way, if any severe thunderstorm warning or anything is issued, it will ping your phone. And then we'll be on KVUE Plus streaming all night long. We'll have live radar, live coverage. So if you want to get some weather information, check out KVUE Plus and we'll have you covered there. All right, so now let's go into the models and we'll kind of talk about the timing here. So as we go into early Friday, you can see there is actually a storm risk across the hill country. A couple of these could be strong to severe, but I think for the most part, we're kind of getting grazed by this. But we'll keep an eye out, especially in the hill country, Thursday night into very early Friday. Otherwise, here's Friday morning, damp weather, but no severe issues. Then as we go into the afternoon, the sky will clear and the temperature really is going to depend on where exactly you live and also where exactly this cold front stalls out. It looks like for Austin, we will be on the warm side of this. So Austin points southeast, 80s, even hitting 90 degrees, similar to what we had on Thursday. However, far northern Wilco, northern hill country, Burnett, Llano, Mason into northern Gillespie County, northern maybe even Blanco County. If you are on the top side of the front, it will be noticeably cooler. We're talking 70s and low 80s. Okay, so now, as we go late afternoon into the early evening, this is when the severe threats go to start. And the first thing we'll watch is not for the big line of storms, but it's for hit or miss stuff developing on this front. So you see the boundary. Watch this. Let's go forward another couple hours. Here's 8:30. We will see how this develops. Honestly, we've been watching kind of a similar setup for the past couple of days, and we've had a cap in place, and that has prevented any storms from forming. But I think you can see here's 8:30. It's possible a couple storms could bubble up. Not everyone's going to see storms in the evening, but where they do develop, they could be strong to severe. So we'll watch that first and foremost. There's 10 o'clock, still watching some of that isolated activity in the hill country. As we go past midnight into 1 or 2 a.m., this is the main event. Now, this is the new run of our model, and it is even more aggressive with a line of strong to severe storms coming in to the hill country. Not saying that the radar will look exactly like this. It's possible maybe the timing's a little different or maybe it's not quite as strong as this, but overall our confidence in some sort of rain and storms coming in Friday night into early Saturday is increasing. It's now an 80% chance for rain. So there's 2 a.m. The idea is that these will be in the process of weakening as they come into the I-35 corridor, maybe as early as say 3 or 4 a.m., but they certainly could still be strong to possibly even severe. So you can see Austin, especially northern Travis into the hill country. This model has a pretty stout line of storms coming in. That would be a wind and hail threat for the most part. Then we'll keep going. So here is 5 a.m. into 6 a.m. That leading edge starting to get into the coastal plains. And then once the leading edge is through, the severe threat's going to be done. There still could be some leftover wet weather. Here is 7 a.m., but this stuff would be very unlikely to be severe. Then as we get into the afternoon on Saturday, it looks like for the most part we will dry out. Maybe a small chance for a kind of background shower or a storm for the afternoon into the early evening of Saturday, but I don't think that's going to be super widespread. This model says Saturday it's mostly cloudy, but temperatures are in the 60s and low 70s. I actually think it will be even cooler than what this model is projecting. Even in Austin, I think highs are likely to stay in the 60s on Saturday. So into the severe weather outlooks. Here's our outlook for Friday and Friday night. Level 2 risk along and especially west of I-35. So I think the storms are probably going to be at their strongest as they initially move into the hill country and then likely are a little bit weaker, but still there is a severe threat in the coastal plains, places like Giddings and LaGrange and Bastrop and Luling is just a little bit lower, level 1 out of 5. Let's go through the threats. First and foremost, I think hail is probably going to be the main concern. This is the hail outlook. You can see the hatched area in the hill country and what that means, that kind of dashed look. That means that significant hail is possible. What do you mean by significant? That would be hail 2 inches or more in diameter. So another good kind of course of action here before you go to bed, if you have a carport or garage or some place where you can put the car, probably a good thing to do before it's the middle of the night. You don't want to have to run out there in a raging storm and try to protect your car. So if you can do that, I think that is wise. Here's the wind outlook. So that's going to be threat number 2. And then the tornado threat as I mentioned, it's low, but it's not zero. Right now, they're kind of outlining Williamson County and Milam County, and I do think this would probably be the main zone to watch, but even into the hill country and even into parts of Travis County, again, low risk, not trying to scare anybody, but it's just a situation we'll have to keep an eye on things. And especially with those storms that develop in the evening that are out kind of by themselves and still in some of that warm, muggy air, I could see some sort of a tornado risk with those as well. So again, just make sure you have a way to get your alerts starting at 6 p.m. Friday, going through 6 a.m. on Saturday. Look, we don't want severe weather. It's kind of what happens this time of the year, though. What we really want is some rain, and this will be some beneficial rain, especially in the hill country, but I don't think it's, in fact, I'm positive it's not going to be enough to eliminate the drought, but this is going to be some beneficial rain, especially over the northern hill country. I think generally a 1/4 of an inch to 1 inch will be pretty widespread, but there will be some 1 to 3 inch pockets likely over parts of the hill country, especially out around Fredericksburg and Llano and maybe the Burnett area as that model is showing. So we have a weather impact alert, which has been issued Friday night into Saturday, 70 to 80% chance for storms, but even as early as late afternoon, evening, there could be some storms on Friday. 60% into early Saturday, but trending drier by the late day. I have a high of only 69 on Saturday. So again, I know some of the model data, there's varying opinions on how warm it will get. I'm trending in the cooler direction, especially if the cloud cover is stubborn. Then by Sunday morning, 45 degrees, wind chills in the hill country, believe it or not, could be in the low 30s or even upper 20s. Highs only 60 on Sunday. That's close to 20 degrees cooler than average for this time of the year. Monday morning, 42. Tuesday morning, 46. So these are the numbers in town. Obviously, in the hill country, it will be colder. Even in the hill country, though, I don't really expect a freeze, at least not for the vast majority of places Monday and Tuesday, but maybe some of the absolute coldest wind-protected spots in the hill country could briefly see a light freeze, but that shouldn't be a problem in Austin. Otherwise, as we go into the middle and the end of next week, temperatures will be warming up again. That's what happens this time of the year. We'll be rebounding. Temperatures will be back in the 80s, 82 Wednesday, Thursday, 85 degrees. So that is an update on our forecast. Again, weather impact alert. The main thing we want you to be aware of is Friday night into Saturday. We could have a pretty strong line of storms coming through. We will be live on KVUE Plus with live radar, live coverage. We'll keep the updates coming. I'll also have frequent updates on my social media. You can follow me on any social media platform. Just search my name, Hunter Williams, or you can look me up on X. My account is Hunt_WX. Y'all have a good night. We will keep the updates coming.